is for me. Okay, good.
I'm consenting.
Thank you. Well, I am here this evening with my friend Jenna Ann Hauser, who is an extremely talented lacrosse player and wonderful person. And we are going to eventually speak about her drawing that she created when we did something called the Inner Critic exercise. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. The drawing was amazing, and the conversation around it was also very interesting. And it's a challenge we all face, how we speak to ourselves, right? So Jenna very graciously consented to be interviewed by me to talk about this topic. And so before we dive into it, a couple of questions. Let's get to know Jenna a little bit better. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Canton, Michigan. I went to a really big high school with like 7,000 people. It's like well, there's actually 3 high schools connected together, but I went to like a huge high school, which is way different than where I go to college. So as you know, but in a suburb, like a decent sized town, just very normal, I'd say, for Michigan. So Canton, Michigan.
Canton, Michigan. When did you start playing lacrosse?
I actually started in high school. I did pom and gymnastics my whole life. So lacrosse was my first team sport, which I feel like is really interesting because I mean, gymnastics and pom are a team sport, but it's not the same when you're playing games and you're getting to know them in a different level. So I started in high school and then I played all the way to college, which is going to be my senior year this year. So
yeah, you're just finished up your junior year, right? What's your major at Adrian College?
It's healthcare management, and then I'm minoring in leadership and what is it? Sociology.
Wow, that's an interesting combination.
Yes.
I could totally see you in the leadership part, in sociology too.
Yes.
Right? You are a rather social person.
Very true.
So if it's okay with you, I'm going to share your Strength Finder results with the people.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So, I have them here with me as well, just in case you have to, so.
Let me share the screen. And Jenna was part of my Win Like a Girl program that I'm running with female athletes and teams, and with the goal of helping them become powerful women that are champions of the game of life. And Jenna's strengths are woo, and I wrote down at a high level, charming and social, okay? Achiever, strong work ethic. Every day you work hard. You work hard right now, right? How many jobs are you working this summer or whatever?
I have 2. So yeah, I mean, I do little things on the side. Like I also babysit, but I have like 2 jobs that I'm consistently doing every day. So,
wow. See, that's your work ethic thing, right? Taking time off is probably hard, but learn now rather than figuring out later that you should have learned it when you were younger. Yeah. Communication is verbally gifted. So you are speak easily with others, right? So as Woo provides that, but communication, you're also a pretty good storyteller, right? I think words come easy to you, whereas people struggle with words. I don't think you struggle with words. Activator, which is a bias for action. So you're like the spark plug that will get things moving if people are stuck, right? And then significance, make an impact. So what you're doing has to matter, would be at a high level what I say about that, right?
Yeah.
So those are your top 5 strengths from the Clifton Strength Finder, which we use to help the team reach their full potential, because all talent is valuable and can help the team win. The ones that are colored red tend to have a little bit more energy with them. And we kind of talked about that in our workshop, that you are a passionate person when you decide to go for something.
Yeah, to say the least.
And that might be misunderstood, because there is a lot of energy with that, right? So we want people to understand that this is the gifts you have. These are your superpowers that help you reach your full potential, no matter what you're doing, whether it's playing lacrosse or, interviewing for jobs or doing your work and schoolwork. So from the standpoint of your strengths and as you read through them, are there any that you'd like to dive into a little bit more about, that you find most interesting to you or that you use a lot?
Yeah. So I actually am going to like draw them back to my inner critic a little bit. Like I have some notes where I'd especially like to point out a couple, but I guess I'll just say, I mean, I think a lot of people's favorite strength of theirs is their first one, but I've always just really like loved my woo strength, because I think I get it from my dad.
Mm.
And my mom was always really shy and more like she was a follower, which is great. Like we need those. But with Woo, I just felt like I really admired how I would always want to go up to a group of people and start a conversation and find a connection. And I don't think I realized until we started your workshop that not everyone like wants to talk to strangers and wants to like find something you have in common and continue that conversation. Like some people are really scared of that. And I really love that aspect of myself. So
Right.
that for sure.
And it can be a little bit unnerving, right, to others, right?
Yes.
So, but knowing that you have it and that A, it's a gift, and B, understanding how it might be perceived by others, that's the win in this, right?
Mhm.
Both that it's yours, you can use it, and that some people might find it a little bit intimidating, right?
Yes, as I do other people's strengths as well. So
That's a great point, right? And I would assume you wouldn't be intimidated by other people's strengths. So, with all this horsepower, but yeah, that's a great point, and that's true for all of us, right? So that's that others' awareness that becomes very helpful. So to explain the inner critic exercise, and I'm really excited that you're going to connect your strengths to your inner critic.
Mm.
To explain the inner critic exercise at a very high level to the people watching this, I basically ask people a question. Think about the worst mistake you've ever made, right? And I have people shut their eyes and consider it and kind of revisit it, and then we dive into what they actually say to themselves when they make a terrible mistake. Terrible is certainly relative, right? So when after you've thought that through, and I won't go into all the details of the guided exercise, but it basically is kind of a visualization and of what you're saying, what the voice looks like, right? When your inner critic pops up, because when you make a mistake, generally speaking, nobody's harder on us than ourselves, right? So then I ask people to draw the inner critic and write down the words that they said. And when Jenna's team from Adrian Lacrosse under the wonderful coach Kelly Bills, when they made this journey, and I was walking around the room looking at the different drawings of the people or of their inner critics, and it's a guided exercise with multiple people, so like a small group, right? I saw Jenna's picture, and I was floored by it, both in its quality, because not all of us can draw like this, but that your inner critic is basically a tornado. Well, you describe your inner critic.
So it was weird how fast this came to me because I've never done an exercise like this before, but right away I knew what mine would be. And that's because, so basically it's a tornado because mostly in my mind, I imagine it as like a sunny day. Like there's no rain, there's light wind, like thoughts go in and out. I'm very busy. So sure, once in a while, like a negative thought will creep in. But my inner critic is something that is so strong, powerful, yet rare. And when it comes, it basically knocks everything down and then it leaves. But the things that it says linger for a little bit. And that's
Yeah.
where it takes like the rebuilding in my mindset.
So the tornado's attacking the house where you're safe, I
Mhm.
presume, right? And so now you're not safe. It's a
Yeah.
very powerful tornado.
Mhm.
The windows are blown out, the shingles are coming off the roof, right? Read what you wrote, read it aloud.
I wrote, "What is wrong with you? You are out of control. This will not get better. You're a monster. You're out of shape. You're fat. You're slow."
So that's what you say to yourself. That's what your inner critic says when you've made a mistake.
Yes.
And is there anything wrong with you? Are you out of control? Do things not get better? Are you a monster? Are you out of shape? Are you fat? And are you
I
slow?
hope not. I hope not.
Yeah, the visceral nature of this was very interesting to me.
Mhm.
So, and we didn't talk about this ahead of time, and you don't have to share details if you want to, but what was the mistake, or how bad was how bad was the situation that the tornado had to attack?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I do I have these connections with people, but that also comes with the power where I feel like I can really hurt people too. And growing up, I would often not think before I would say things. And I feel like I hurt a lot of people doing that. And that's really where the thoughts like, what is wrong with you? You're out of control. This will not get better. That's kind of, and I do find myself having those moments in sports with my team too, where if someone does something in a game or in practice, I've gotten a lot better at it, but sometimes I snap. And then my inner critic will just be like, why did you say that? Like, make me feel so bad, or things like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like I get down on myself for not being able to better handle a situation. And I think there was just something to me when I was younger where I really hurt someone that really brought in this thing where I just felt completely torn down as a person because I just wish I hadn't said it or done it.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Now I understand it better, right? And although I get the pain, right? And that's so interesting that the power was that someone else was hurt, right? And how powerful you were that it hurt someone else deeply. What about the physical stuff though? The monster, you're out of shape, you're fat.
Yeah.
Because you're not even like remotely.
Oh, thank you.
And you're very pretty.
Thank you. I think that just comes from because I'm like an achiever, that strength really shows through in this weakness that I have mentally, where when I feel like I'm even tired or I have to pull myself out of a game or I'm not playing my best, those come in where I just feel, really down on myself. Like I should have ran harder. Like I feel like my body is just weak and too big. And I feel like just this generation too, just like looking in the mirror, sometimes I just feel like I could be better looking like physically. And I think it's really easy for us like females, us young females, especially athletes, we don't even know where it comes from, but we're so hard on ourselves and how we look and how we feel in our own bodies.
Wow.
So.
That all makes sense. And I think you're absolutely correct on your analysis about it all. Right. And yet look at you, right? So tell us, you mentioned achiever. Are there other strengths because the strengths are powerful and we need to regulate them, right?
Yeah.
To productive ends. So was there other strengths that were playing a role in your tornado, or is it mostly achiever?
Yeah. I definitely think with my woo and my significance and even my activator, I mean, those are all like, we're talking about social, like not aggressive, but very like influencing roles. And I think it really plays into being scared that people won't like me as well. So I think that can be something. I know this is a thing that a lot of people worry about. And it's funny because you would look at my thing, I feel like, and be like, you have all these social strengths, but it's like, I do. And that's why I want people to like me so bad that sometimes it actually becomes a weakness when I feel like they don't, or we're not connecting.
Right.
So
yeah, that would feel bad to you. Right. And yet you can't make somebody like you. Right.
No.
So just being you're perfectly wonderful the way you are, but making sure that these are well managed so that you don't trample on somebody.
Yes.
That they are high intensity, they're high energy strengths. That's why I call them red, right?
Yes.
But yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah.
But I also wrote down like some positive things about the strengths that I'd like to connect to them that help me like feel better when I'm having those instances.
Yeah.
So this one really stuck out for me. It was the activator, and it literally says your words can energize individuals or groups. That was on my insight. And I feel like, I can like bring myself down and I can bring people down, but just as much as I can do that, I can also lift them up. Like it's such a great power to have, to be able to, I might be having a bad day, but someone else might be having a worse day. And I'm going to work to try to make their day a little bit better. And then I think it'll help my day be better as well. So I really like that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why it's your bias for action. It can lift people up when they feel stuck. You're going to walk in the room and they're going to go, the cavalry's here.
I hope so.
Well, let me stop the share so that we can see you better. Yeah, well, that's wonderful. Are there any other thoughts you wish to share about your strengths?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have a couple other things like I just wrote for my woo. One of the quotes was, "You concentrate on the desirable qualities that distinguish an individual from everyone else." And I thought, and I feel like I do that. And it actually shocked me how relatable that was for me. But I feel like if I can do that with other people, I should be able to do that with myself.
Mm.
So I was trying to find those connections where, because I do rebuild that house after the inner critic comes. I do get it back up and I really like fight to keep most of my thoughts positive. And I feel like things like that, where I do recognize, oh, I do have these qualities like I see in everyone else, help me to kind of
Right.
get it back in. But it never goes away forever. You just have to
Mm.
learn how to function with it.
Did the awareness, I'm going to try to change the view. Did the awareness of this help you? Has it helped you?
Definitely. I feel like I never really understood the monster that was in my head until I had to identify what it was. And then once you know what it is, you're more able to combat how it makes you feel.
Mhm.
So definitely. I don't know if that's how it would feel for everyone, but that's
Mhm.
how it felt for me.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's
that makes sense.
right. And it's, you know, the inner critic is such an individual experience because we are so different, right?
Yeah.
And we do have different strengths. We do have different experiences. And yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad it helped with awareness. So a couple other questions and then we'll wrap this up. We did the Win Like a Girl program in a very short period of time, right?
Yeah.
Like a rushed 5-week period. And the goal is to help the team perform, be more unified and perform, understand one another better so that the performance improves, right?
Yes.
What was your favorite part of it?
My favorite part was hearing the voices of my teammates, I feel like. Because at practices and stuff, there's people that would talk more and lead more things. And Win Like a Girl, like the meetings that we would have really gave my teammates the ability to use their voices too, people that I hadn't heard from previously.
Mm,
And I really enjoyed like getting to hear what they thought as well.
good. And that's a big win,
Mhm.
right? That's where that team unity comes in from others' awareness and stuff like that. Um, did it did it impact your confidence?
Yeah, I think it really did. I hope it had the same impact on everyone, but just getting to share what my strengths are and just kind of you almost get to like hype yourself up a little bit. I enjoy like being like, "Oh, this is what I'm good at. What are you good at?" And it does make you feel better about yourself and realize like, "Wow, I'm different than all these people and I have these strengths myself." And I think that individualization aspect is really confidence boosting.
Mhm. Good. Yeah, that's an important part of it. Can you see using this experience, the Win Like a Girl experience, the Strength Finder, the Inner Critic, and some we did multiple exercises, right? But beyond lacrosse and even beyond college.
Yeah, I think it would be really interesting to use it in like a workplace because I mean, like we talk about my strengths, me wanting to have an impact, and that's why I want to work in healthcare. And then I'm in business, and I would think it would be really interesting to use that in like an office environment. Like I'm interested to see what would happen in that case. So
Yeah, and you may find it there already. There are lots of places that use this
yeah,
assessment, right?
mhm,
It's also very powerful for interviewing, right? These are the
yeah,
things you can count on me for.
yeah,
Do add it to your resume. Add your top 5 strengths to your resume when the time comes, or LinkedIn, because so many corporations do use it that if they see you already know your strengths, they're gonna be like,
yeah.
oh, that's an important. They're
Interesting.
excited by that, right? So that's something to think about. Um, well, you will be a senior next year. And
Mhm.
I will be counting on you to help us lead the team because we will be doing this again, which is great
Awesome.
news for me. And we'll do it over a longer period of time, so it wasn't quite so rushed. But
Yeah.
yeah, any other parting thoughts?
No, I'm just excited for us to keep it going and for all the new girls joining the team to get to witness what we got to witness and just dive deeper into unifying. So
Well, good. It'll be fun. We'll have it always is fun, but I'm excited about it as well. And well, thank you so much for your
thank you so
time.
of course. I'm sorry that it was delayed, but I'm really glad that we got to talk and have the conversation.
Yeah,
And
we figured it out as all life champions do, right?
yeah,
So it's not a problem at all. Well, Jenna, thanks again. I'm going to stop the recording and then I'll be sharing this with other people so they can hear how important it is to understand your inner critic and the impact it has on you in not just sport, but beyond.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks
so
again.
much. Let me
You're-
know if you need anything else,
I
but
will. I
yeah.
will, because I know you can chat.
oh, I can chat. Coach Bills and I, we love to chat.
Perfect. Thanks again.
Thanks. Bye-bye.